Welcome back to Capitol Review. Public confidence in Congress remains low, and recent hearings have not helped boost the numbers. Experts say that things have changed dramatically over the years. What has happened to civility, and what can be done to turn things around? Jeffrey Lord has had a front row seat in the White House as a staffer in the Reagan administration. Jeffrey, welcome back to Capitol Review.
Good to be here. Good to be here.
We're always glad to have you.
Amidst the cold and snow.
I know. Absolutely. Hey, quickly take us back in time when after President Reagan got shot, and he had a moment with Tip O'Neill in the hospital room.
Tip O'Neill, of course, was the Democratic Speaker of the House and was very much an opponent. I mean, he was a liberal's liberal, and of course Reagan was a conservative's conservative. Well, when Reagan was shot, and eventually was well enough, he was still in the hospital to see visitors, he got a visit from Tip O'Neill, who went in there to encourage him. He shook his hand, spent a few minutes with him, etc. It was very touching. And it said something about the degree of civility that was really there with political opponents in the day.
Jeffrey, let's talk about what we saw recently in the House hearing. Republicans and Democrats screaming at each other, hurling insults back and forth. AG Pam Bondi against Democrats. Your reaction to that?
Well, I think they all could do better. Although I have to say, I know I've met Pam Bondi, and she's terrific. She's very bright. She was the former Attorney General of Florida, knows her stuff, etc. But the thing that gets me is they were really out to get her. And they were out to get her because she is not just Attorney General, but Donald Trump's Attorney General. And I think a lot of the Democrats on that panel have the famous Trump derangement syndrome. And they really tried to go after her, but she gave as good as she got. And it's just too bad that it has to be conducted at all like that.
Jeffrey, what can be done to change the dynamics? So we're going to have a new president, new members of Congress. That exchange really has been a talker. Just the whole tone, the whole vibe of that hearing. What can be done?
I'm not so sure changing president does anything because, before Donald Trump, there was Bush derangement syndrome. And Democrats were just beside themselves at the fact that George W. Bush was president. So I don't know. There's something in the air here, and it's not healthy. It's not good. I remember when President Reagan was shot and they were operating on him in the hospital, and he looked up and said, "I hope you're all Republicans," to which the doctor replied, "Mr. President, today we're all Republicans." Good for them.
Jeffrey, does the current climate impact getting things done that help the American people?
Yes, it does. It does. Because you get an opposition that is unwilling to work with the majority. And, to get things done in the House, I started my career working in the House staff there for a Pennsylvania congressman. You have got to be able to willing to work across the aisle. I worked for Congressman Schuster from Pennsylvania. He was first the ranking member, then the chairman of the Public Works and Transportation Committee. If ever there were a committee that was bipartisan, it was that one, because that was the committee responsible for building roads and bridges and that sort of thing, and they all needed them, so they all worked together. I don't know that feeling is there at the moment.
Jeffrey Lord, thank you so very much for joining us.
Thank you.